Wow. So these Jews who migrated into migrant Jews who migrated into Germany, migrants, brought infectious diseases with them? Who else says that? Like right now.
One be ill-advised by those isolated bourgeois weaklings who vegetate in every country. As regards National Socialist Germany, she is well aware of the fate that awaits her if ever an international power, whatever its motive, should succeed in overcoming fascist Italy. We realize the consequences which would follow upon such an event and face them unflinchingly. The fate of Prussia in 1805 and 1806 will not be repeated a second time. In German history, weaklings like the advisors of the King of Prussia in 1805.
Yo, he's just like Trump, dude. What is he talking about? Oh, just every person that is undocumented living on U.S. soil is actually a part of a fucking army that is there to destroy the United States of America. Mind you, they are literally coming from every fucking country on the planet. He's saying all of these people are together and they're actually here to kill Americans. They are an enemy. They are foreigners that are living in every corner and they're enemies and they're here to kill you. Right. Yeah, housing is a problem. Why? Migrants. Grocery costs are high. Why? Migrants. I stubbed my toe yesterday. Why? A Guatemalan migrant is responsible. Everything is migrants. Migrants are in every corner. Migrant, migrant, migrant. Conservatives only conserve one thing, and that is talking points, okay? Bar for bar. Verbatim, okay? Holy, that is so crazy.
I'm angry about young American girls being raped and sodomized and murdered by savage criminal aliens. I'm angry about rampant inflation destroying our middle class, and the American people are also very angry about that and every other thing that we've had to endure for 3.5 years. That's why 54 days from now, we are going to tell Harris that we've had enough. Our country.
We're literally watching a Hitler rally, straight up, colorized, 2024, in broad daylight. And it's kind of fucking wild that the Democrats have not made a peep about this shit.
You had no chance of getting this position. You shouldn't have had it. You got no votes, whether you like Biden or not. He got 14 million votes. He had none, not one.
The Democrats' counter messaging on this front is it's more so a matter of like saving America and not allowing it to turn completely into Adolf Hitler's vision, his grand vision. And I think that that is completely unavoidable at this point. Like the less interested they seemingly are in combating the narrative that like undocumented migrants are just like sodomizing your daughters, which is insanely fucking, like, that is scary as shit. Okay, the more they capitulate to the right-wing framing, the more unhinged the right will get. This is at the basis of fucking this is the basis of the ratchet effect. And we're watching it unfold in real time in front of our fucking eyes, and no one is saying this shit. How is this comparable to a Hitler rally? Neither agree nor disagree. Just want to hear your opinion. I think a lot of people look at like Hitler rallies and only hear the highlights that are collected, like the worst moments where Hitler's like, you know, Jews are eating your babies or whatever. Like, I'm sure there was plenty of boring moments where Hitler was droning on in the exact same way that Donald Trump is in between the worst aspects of the rally. And when all is said and done, you look back at rallies like this and you probably will only play the fucking high notes, which are moments where Donald Trump will say immigrants are sodomizing American children, which is what he literally said. Now, I've heard that there's like this big new meta on TikTok where people are like AI translating like Adolf Hitler speeches and posting them. And some people are like, wow, he's so based. And the reason why those people feel that way, okay, is because he sounds exactly like Donald Trump. That's why. Because you're that fucking primed to literally agree with Adolf Hitler because you are currently excited at the prospect of voting for Adolf Hitler. But isn't Kamala also in support of deportation? Doesn't that make her sub-Hitlerian? Yes, of course it does. It's straight up like 75% of the way versus 100% of the way. That's it. That's the distinction here. Yeah. If you hear Adolf Hitler speeches that are translated and go, wow, we were told so many lies about how bad Hitler was, instead of going, oh my God, this sounds exactly like Donald Trump, and that's terrifying, we're fucked. It means that we are fucked, okay? And there are a shit ton of people who actually look at that and go, God damn, he's based.
Für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich my work for correctness. And whether you believe that I have been diligent, that I have worked, that I have advocated for you in these years, that I have been decent, I have spent my time in service of my people. Now cast your vote. If yes, then stand up for me as I have stood up for you.
He said Volk in the beginning, which is like, you know, the in-group, okay, white people, whatever the fuck Trump would consider, like, you know, Tucker Carlson calls them legacy Americans.
It's horrible and dangerous, and we're ruining our country. We're destroying. So Carrie told me that she's going to be focusing on the border, right? And she is, you're going to get it fixed, right?
As a German, I got to say, comparing Hitler to Donald Trump is dangerous. Man, Germans, shut your bitch asses up, okay? First of all, Donald Trump absolutely is comparable to Adolf Hitler, and so was fucking George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, and so is Benjamin Netanyahu, okay? Suck my fucking dick, you stupid little bitches. You're literally like, you should be more embarrassed to fucking try to like put on this like weird facade, okay? Oh, we're so sad about what our grandparents did, that it's like it's uniquely bad and attributed to just us, and also the Arabs that are doing it to like Israel right now, because actually it's worse even what the Arabs are doing to Israel. Okay, I hate this fucking gatekeeping bullshit, dude. What reason is there to learn about historic wrongs if you cannot fucking apply them to the current wrongs that are happening that are damn near identical to the historic wrongs that happened? God damn, dude. Germans are playing the exact opposite side of the never again means just never the Holocaust and nothing else. Okay? It's one of the most frustrating aspects of like people gatekeeping certain aspects of history. It's like, oh, don't call them concentration camps. Call them something else. No, man, I'm going to call them concentration camps. Just suck my fucking dick, okay? Go take it up with your granddad, dumbass. Fuck. Why are you calling him names? Because I don't have any fucking time for a German guy that looks at literally the Hitlerian prototype, and as I'm doing political commentary, hoping that people can fucking understand that, like, this is Adolf Hitler, we shouldn't do this again. Okay, and some German guy who's got his fucking grandpappy's, like, best interest in mind, comes in here and is like, no, you don't understand. It's very dangerous to call Donald Trump Adolf Hitler. It's like, bro, go worry about the AFD, okay? You don't understand, okay? Das ist dangerous. You don't get it. Yeah, it's additionally funny when Germans say that, because then it almost seems like you're flexing. To us, in the outside world, it seems like you're flexing. Like, don't compare Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. That's dangerous. Like, we know what you really mean, dog. You're like, no. Adolf Hitler was like way better and way cooler, is what it sounds like to us. Okay, if you try to gatekeep Hitler like that, for us, you sound like a fucking fascist hipster. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Fix your fucking priorities, dude. It sounds weird as hell. I know that there's, for the record, I know that there's hella fucking actual leftist Germans in this chat. Okay, make no mistake. You know better than anyone else how fucking annoying liberal Germans are. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. That person is exactly who the fuck I'm talking about.
And it's dangerous work. And, you know, they want to really do the job. They're stopped from doing their job. They want to do their job. They want to work. It's more dangerous. It's harder. But they want to save our country. These people are incredible, I'll tell you. As the people of Arizona understand better than anyone else, under Kamala Harris, our country is under a thing called invasion. Did you ever hear the word invasion?
What did you say? What? Oh, yeah, here. Listen
Like
to
a
Adolf
military
Hitler.
invasion. We're being conquered and we are being occupied by a foreign element. And, you know, if you think about it,
Adolf Hitler, ladies
China
and gentlemen.
has a 5
Welcome back.
million
Welcome back, Adolf
man
Hitler.
army, mostly man in that case, I can tell you. But they have a 5 million person army, and we have 21 million people coming this year. This period of time, 21 million people over the period of the last few years. Think of it. They have a 5 million. That's a big army. And we have 21 million people here. So cut out half. That means you have 10 million people. And they have guns. You just see that. If you look at Colorado, take a look at Aurora. They have guns that are the most sophisticated guns anywhere in the world. High-powered stuff. And, you know, you say to yourself, so if you cut the number in half, 10 million people, and cut that number in half, 5 million, that's the size of China, and what they have is an army. It's pretty dangerous stuff. We got to get them the hell out of here.
What is he talking about? Oh, just every person that is undocumented living on U.S. soil is actually a
As
part of a
discussed
fucking
in the
army that
debate-
is there to destroy the United States of America. Mind you, they are literally coming from every fucking country on the planet. He's saying that, like, the army that we have bred in our ranks is actually like the Guatemalan abuela who is fucking living here and like maybe cleans your mother's house or some shit. Or the Caribbean auntie that is taking care of your fucking grandparents, okay, who are more racist than Adolf Hitler in some ways, okay? All of those people are actually a part of a fucking body, a hive mind, an organization that is trying to destroy the United States of America, okay? Your moms, some of you have undocumented parents, some of you are undocumented, right? He's saying all of these people are together and they're actually here to kill Americans. They are an enemy. They are foreigners that are living in every corner, and they're enemies, and they're here to kill you.
Fly them in. Think of that. They fly them in by jets. They're flying in all the time. And Art, they don't count those numbers, do they? They don't talk about them. When they fly in, and then they have a special app, right? They have an app where the car.
Here.
Advise that this video includes historical context.
Du, meine Arbeit für richtig hältst. Tormented Jewish people is shameful. In connection with the Jewish question, I have this to say. It is a shameful spectacle to see how the whole democratic world is oozing sympathy for the poor, tormented Jewish people, but remains hard-hearted and obdurate when it comes to helping them, which is surely, in view of its attitude, an obvious duty.
The Germans, it sounds like you belittle Hitler's actions. I wouldn't use it myself because German sensibilities start kicking in. Yeah, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, there is no reason to ever learn about the Holocaust if you're not going to use the example and the lessons to not do it again. When we are sitting at the eve of the Holocaust, a comparison to that is apt, okay? Like what he is saying about Jews, Donald Trump is saying about immigrants, okay? The choice of words, man, I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm not here to fucking play some song and dance with you, okay? I don't care. I don't care how fucking Germans feel about the Holocaust. You want to know why? Because there's currently a genocide happening in Gaza, and at least the way that Germans, liberal Germans, are communicating their fucking sensibilities on it is literally Hitlerian, okay? They love Adolf Hitler, or the Jewish version of Adolf Hitler, in fucking Benjamin Netanyahu. So miss me with this fucking bullshit. If you are coming in here to be like, oh, you're minimizing the Holocaust, then you probably are that liberal German who's doing that as well on the other side. Okay? Because that's fascism. What Donald Trump is doing is fascism. The underpinning of this sentiment is just fascism. Okay? Ultra-nationalist, tying the in-group into a genetic predisposition and simultaneously fucking claiming that the out-group has inferior qualities, that they somehow want to fucking murder all of us in the in-group, that want to destroy American society. That's just fascism. That's exactly what Hitler was, and that's exactly what Benjamin Netanyahu is, and that's exactly what Zionism is as well. So if you come in here and you cry about the comparisons, then I'm sorry, you are exactly the kind of fucking liberal that your grandfather probably was that allowed this fucking fascist monster to rise to power because you were too predisposed with the KPD being the real problem, the trade unionists being the real problem, the socialist Germans being the real problem. Oh, God forbid we have a red revolution in Germany. That would be terrifying. That's exactly what your dumbass liberal grandpappy thought too. And then that dumbass liberal grandpappy of yours picked up arms and went to slaughter Jews. Okay? That is how fascism works. And it's happening right now. It's happening in Israel and it's happening in America. And if you come in here and do some aesthetic bullshit on that issue, you can suck my fucking Turkish cock. Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus fucking Christ.
Arguments that are brought up as an excuse for not helping them actually speak for us Germans and Italians. For this is what they say. One, we, that is the democracies, are not in a position to take in the Jews. Yet in these empires there are not 10 people to the square kilometer, while Germany, with her 135 inhabitants to the square kilometer, is supposed to have room for them. Two.
By the way, like, it's even close. Benjamin Netanyahu's statements are even closer to Adolf Hitler's, because that's exactly what he said about the Palestinian. Nobody wants to help the Arabs. No one wants to extend an open arm to the Arabs. Nobody wants to help us in Israel either, okay? It's literally verbatim, 1-to-1, which is why it's additionally hilarious that so many fucking anti-Semitic fascists are like, oh, yeah, like they love Hitler, and then they secretly hate Benjamin Netanyahu, I guess, but it doesn't matter because, like, you just come across as jealous because he's getting to do what you want to do in America, okay? You're just jealous that Benjamin Netanyahu gets to do what you want to do in the United States of America, and he gets to do it with your tax dollars. That's it. That's it. Like, you think Hitler didn't present himself as like a guy who is just, you know, forced to do this? He doesn't want to do this. Why do you think the Tucker Carlson, the fake podcast historian guy that talked to Tucker Carlson was saying exactly that? Okay. Of course he did. He presented, like, people need to make an argument. Okay. They can't just like magically wake up one day and be like, we're going to kill all the Jews. And then all the Germans are like, all right, let's do it. That's not how this shit works. Okay? That's not how this shit works. Hasan, I just wanted to point the view of the liberal Germans with regards to the choice words. I agree with what's happening in Gaza is a genocide and Trump is a fash. I don't care. I don't care about fucking liberal Germans and their sentiment. Okay? I don't care. That's my point. My point is I don't care. I don't care about the optics of the situation from the perspective of liberal Germans. Like, God forbid. I can't even get fucking liberal Americans to understand what the fuck is going on. You think I give a shit about liberal Germans? Jesus Christ, dude.
And I'm telling you, this is true. Kamala, a committed Marxist, you know, her father's a Marxist professor, will be far worse than crooked Joe Biden. She's going to be worse because he doesn't really believe it. She does. She does believe it. And she'll go back to no fracking and all the other things we talked about. She'll go back to them on day one. But on day one of my administration, I will stop this invasion. I will seal the border. I will end the Harris migrant flight. And I will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Right? We have no choice. Thank you. Thank you. We will not allow our country to be destroyed. They're destroying our country. We will get the criminals out, and we will not.
Hey, dumbass lib Germans who were worried about the optics of comparing it to fucking Adolf Hitler. Google the Madagascar plan, okay? So that you can better understand your own grandfather's history, okay? Like, it didn't start off with, like, we're just going to fucking execute every Jew, okay? It didn't start off like that.
Over the world, and they're coming from prisons and they're coming from jails. We're not going to let this happen to our country. Another terrible effect of the Harris migrant invasion, and she's the one that wanted it more than Biden. Biden didn't know what the hell was happening. He said, oh, that sounds like a nice idea. is that it is driving housing costs through the roof. You know that, right?
Yeah, housing is a problem. Why? Migrants. Fucking grocery costs are high. Why? Migrants. I stubbed my toe yesterday. Why? A Guatemalan migrant is responsible. Everything is migrants. Migrants are in every corner. Migrant, migrant, migrant.
They assure us we cannot take them unless Germany is prepared to allow them a certain amount of capital to bring with them as immigrants. For hundreds of years, Germany was good enough to receive these elements, although they possessed nothing except infectious political and physical diseases.
Wow. Wow. So these Jews who migrant Jews who migrated into Germany, migrants, brought infectious diseases with them? Who else says that? Like right now. That's right. It's the buttoned up version of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance. He says that.
What they possess today, they have by a very large extent gained at the cost of the less astute German nation by the most reprehensible manipulations. Today, we are merely paying this people what it deserves. When the German nation was, thanks to the inflation instigated and carried through by Jews, deprived of the entire savings which it had accumulated in years of honest work, when the rest of the world took away the German nation's foreign investments, when we were divested of the whole of our colonial possessions, these philanthropic considerations evidently carried little noticeable weight with democratic statesmen. Today, I can only assure these gentlemen that thanks to the...
It's like, oh, we lost our colonies, oh, and then the democratic statesmen didn't even care about us losing our colonies, dude.
brutal education with which the democracies favored us for 15 years, we are completely hardened to all...
By the way, woke mind virus is I mean, it's directly one-to-one. It's not almost one-to-one. It's directly one-to-one. It's just the language has been updated because, like, everybody kind of... Like, liberalism defeated Nazism and basically became Nazism, okay? Like, they militarily, the Western powers, along with the USSR, militarily defeated Nazi Germany, and then the Western powers, in an effort to continue or not even neoliberal, but at the time, like, liberal hegemonic dominance and defeat the much larger scourge of socialism, communism, basically adopted the same exact people, the people that were responsible for the death and destruction in many of these circumstances. And what ended up happening is just fascism never died. It actually thrived under liberalism. Fascism thrived under liberalism in the beginning stages of like fascism's rise to power anyway. Okay? And that exact same cycle has continued for the past 100 years. That's precisely the reason why you see even direct people that held the guns, okay, against the Jews in places like Ukraine, for example, get standing ovations from liberals because they don't think beyond the fact that, like, this brave Ukrainian veteran in the Canadian Parliament was anti-socialist during World War II. Hitler lost personally, but fascism won. Okay? And that's precisely the reason why. That is precisely the reason why you're experiencing Hitlerian speech by the United States of American Congress members, by the president of the United States, the former president. And the liberals are playing the exact same fake defensive posture in this regard as they did historically back then. It is very, very frustrating. It's a one-to-one. People understand that Nazis are bad, so you can't say Nazis are good. You have to say something different. So you can't say, for example, that the Frankfurt School is causing the collapse of Germany by instilling us with Jewish mind poison. You say woke mind virus. You say cultural degeneracy. You say cultural Marxism. You don't say Judeo-Marxism. You say cultural Marxism instead. Okay, not that long ago, Christian fascists used to openly fucking state that this was a Christian nation. Now they say it's a Judeo-Christian nation, our Judeo-Christian values, okay? But that is an allegiance that is fraught, okay? It's a fraudulent allegiance. It will it will end up hurting Jewish people as well. Okay. Cultural Bolshevism turned into cultural Marxism. This is something that I used to talk about with respect to Jordan Peterson all the goddamn time. A person who presented himself as a liberal for years and years and years, right? When it was very obvious that he was a fucking fascist. This is a reach. It's a reach for you because you don't understand history. You don't understand anything, really. It is not a fucking reach at all. Every single thing that I said in terms of like the American and Western powers, but specifically the Western world under the Marshall Plan and under NATO, straight the fuck up implemented, straight the fuck up put fascists in positions of prominence, positions of power. In West Germany, they directly re-Hitlerized the country. That's 100% correct. Like, that is literally what happened. Okay? That is exactly what happened. Like, you can consider that a reach, but the unfortunate reality for you is that you are no different than the Republicans that you think you're smarter than. Okay? They deny reality about, like, they deny reality that is in front of them. You deny reality throughout history and also subsequently the reality that's in front of you. If you don't recognize that these guys are the exact same type of fascists, but with like different language, and sometimes not different language at all, as a matter of fact. East Germany, not West. The West is still normal. No, dog. I'm talking about West Germany. West Germany was directly ruled by the same fucking Nazis. Okay? I'm talking about the Cold War. And what are the consequences? What are the consequences of the collapse of the USSR? What are the consequences of East Germany and West Germany fucking unifying? Okay? Underserved, underprivileged communities that were in a state of disrepair, that didn't get the fucking Marshall Plan dollars, that then also did not get developed adequately, and the horrifying circumstances that East Germany was subjected to post the USSR collapse is exactly why so many fucking poor Germans in East Germany are AfD supporters. Okay? There is no difference between those guys voting for AfD than the Springfield, Ohio white guys who might have been lifelong Democrats turning into fucking Hitlerian fascists there. That's it. What? Time-stamped Hitler's speech? What?
One be ill-advised by those isolated bourgeois weaklings who vegetate in every country and who cannot understand that in the life of nations, it is not necessarily cowardice, but also courage and honor that may prompt wisdom. As regards National Socialist Germany, she is well aware of the fate that awaits her if ever an international power, whatever its motive, should succeed in overcoming fascist Italy. We realize the consequences which would follow upon such an event and face them unflinchingly. The fate of Prussia in 1805 and 1806 will not be repeated a second time. In German history, weaklings like the advisors of the King of Prussia in 1805.
Yo, he's just like Trump, dude. Straight up. No, he's just like droning on and on and on. Just like boring ass son of a bitch, dude. Talking about how like people have wronged Germany. People act like Hitler is ancient history. This shit was 80 years ago, not that long ago, folks. Yeah, I mean...
Attacks of sentiment. After more than 800,000 children of the nation had died of hunger and undernourishment at the close of the war, we witnessed almost 1 million head of milking cows being driven away from us in accordance with the cruel paragraphs of a dictate which the...
Yeah, replace Jew with migrant and you get Trump. Replace Jew with Palestinian and you get Netanyahu.
Humane democratic apostles of the world forced upon us as a peace treaty. We witnessed over 1 million German prisoners of war being retained in confinement for no reason at all for a whole year after the war was ended. We witnessed over 1.5 million Germans being torn away from all that they possessed in the territories lying on our frontiers and being whipped out with practically only what they wore on their backs. We had to endure having millions of our fellow countrymen torn from us without their consent and without their being afforded the slightest possibility of existence. I could supplement these examples with dozens of the most cruel kind. For this reason, we ask to be spared all sentimental talk The German nation does not wish its interests to be determined and controlled by any foreign nation, France to the French, England to the English, America to the Americans, and Germany to the Germans. We are resolved to prevent the settlement in our country of a strange people which was capable of snatching for itself.
That's interesting. That's just, I mean, half of this shit is like things you hear now on a regular basis. Okay?
All the leading.
Does this mean Trump will kill himself? Fuck no. He's way more narcissistic than somehow even Hitler was. Like, Hitler also was like Hitler was an ideological operative. Okay? Hitler was an ideological operative. He had like a cause. Donald Trump does not. He's just using Hitlerian terminology and just like Hitlerian politics to advance the only thing he cares about, which is himself. That's it. He is far too narcissistic and self-important to like actually kill himself at any given moment. But we know Hitler believed that Jews wanted to kill Aryans all behind closed doors. Does Trump even believe this bullshit? It doesn't matter what Trump believes, dog. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to be a fucking loyal servant to fascism ideologically, okay? He is presenting himself as that, and people are listening, and they're saying, that's my shit, I agree with you. At that point, it doesn't matter if he's truly invested in, in creating the Fourth Reich in the United States of America, because he's doing it regardless of whether he personally believes it or not. The reason why Hitler's ideas aren't taught and therefore refuted is because the United States needs fascism to continue to fight socialism in the world today. That's why they turned Nazism into a boogeyman of evil rather than an actually existing idea. Yeah. It's also because it's an actually existing idea that they kind of agree with. That's the other thing. Like, immediately, they absolutely openly agree with it in terms of collaborating with fascists, in terms of like the number one thing that fascists did, which was kill socialists. They love that shit. So why would they openly explain what fascism truly is? Capitalism has inherent contradictions, okay? And the weight of such contradictions become glaringly apparent at a certain point, and the system collapses under its own weight, okay? That is where barbarism comes in. That is where fascism comes in. Fascism is to reassert the same dominant forces by extra military force, okay? That's what fascism is. That's precisely the reason why Adolf Hitler and Mussolini as well, both of which used a lot of populist and even, dare I say, somewhat leftist sentiment when they were rising to fucking power. Leftist only for the whites, though, for the in-group, for the Volk in Germany, for the real Italians in Italy. That is precisely the reason why, despite co-opting certain like leftist aesthetics, okay, they ended up collaborating with small businesses, and big business owners in it, and destroyed trade unions and killed socialists. Like, that was their number one enemy, was socialists. And a bunch of fucking hapless, baboon-brained liberal idiots at the time were like, well, the communists are the real fucking problem, actually. So, we have the communists are the reason why fascists are actually so prominent. Folk just means people. You should stop saying that. Yo, Germans, I don't care, dude. Okay, I know what folk means. Okay, folk means it's the same word in English too. Folk.
Positions in the land and to oust it, for it is our will to educate our own nation for these leading positions. We have hundreds of thousands of very intelligent children of peasants and of the working classes. We shall have them educated. In fact, we have already begun, and we wish that one day they, and not the representatives of an alien race, may hold the leading positions in the state together with our educated classes. Above all, German culture, as its name alone shows, is German and not Jewish, and therefore its management and care will be entrusted to members of our own nation. If the rest of the world cries out with a hypocritical mien against this barbaric expulsion from Germany of such an irreplaceable and culturally eminently valuable element, we can only be astonished at the conclusions they draw from this situation. For how thankful they must be that we are releasing these precious apostles of culture and placing them at the disposal of the rest of the world in accordance with their own declaration.
Okay, to The irony is that the Japanese were like, no, actually release them to us, please. But that's a funny little chapter in the history of fascism. The philo-Semitic Japanese who saw the anti-Semitic scriptures and were like, damn, these guys are like magic money people. Give them to us, please. We will put them in Manchuria. But outside of that, you know.
They cannot find a single reason to excuse themselves for refusing to receive this most valuable race in their own countries. Nor can I see a reason why the members of this race should be imposed upon the German nation, while in the States, which are so enthusiastic about these splendid people, their settlement should suddenly be refused with every imaginable excuse. I think that the sooner this problem is solved, the better, for Europe cannot settle down until the Jewish question is cleared up. It may very well be possible that sooner or later an agreement on this problem may be reached in Europe, even between those nations which otherwise do not so easily come together. The world has sufficient space for settlements, but we must once and for all get rid of the opinion that the Jewish race was only created by God for the purpose of being in a certain percentage a parasite living on the body and the productive work of other nations.
Literally just straight up fucking substitute Jewish race for migrants in America, you get Trump. Substitute Jewish race for Palestinians or Arabs and you get Benjamin Netanyahu. Like verbatim. If you're like, damn, man, this sounds real fucking familiar to me, it's because you've heard it. I'm German, I can say this. The worst thing you can do to a German is try to teach them about fascism, let alone the show. Germans believe we can't be fascist because we atone for our greatest sin by helping Israel as much as we can. Oh, I know, chatter. Oh, I know that. Germans, by the way, that are chirping in here are so funny because like this will get Nets DG'd so funny, so quickly that half of the Germans will not be able to watch this VOD anyway. So enjoy the last time you can watch this broadcast, at least for the time being. Like this is going to get Nets DG'd. I will not be able to say the fucking word. It is impossible. It's like one of those insanely complicated German words to say. Netze deutsche Vergewaltung or some shit, okay? It's the hate speech laws that Germany has. Netzwerkdurchsetzungsgesetz. Netzwerkdurchsetzungsgesetz. Jawohl!
The Jewish race will have to adapt itself to sound constructive activity as other nations do, or sooner or later it will succumb to a crisis of an inconceivable magnitude. One thing I should like to say on this day, which may be memorable for others as well as for us Germans, in the course of my life I have very often been a prophet and have usually been ridiculed for it. During the time of my struggle for power, it was in the first instance the Jewish race which only received my prophecies with laughter when I said that I would one day take over the leadership of the state, and with it that of the whole nation, and that I would then, among many other things, settle the Jewish problem. Their laughter was uproarious, but I think that for some time now they have been laughing on the other side of their face. Today I will once more be a prophet. If the international Jewish financiers in and outside Europe should succeed in plunging the nations once more into a world war, then the result will not be the Bolshevization of the earth.
He's going to stop World War III.
And thus the victory of Jewry, but the annihilation of the Jewish race in Europe. The nations are no longer willing to die on the battlefield, so that this unstable international race...
People never actually read / hear the things Nazis said because they're just described as some abstract evil. Yeah, worst of all is that it's not even considered just abstract evil. It's the abstract evil of one man. Okay? And yes, this is an evil man. Okay? But if you consider what the Nazis did to be like this horrifying atrocity that was caused by like the personal convictions of a singular person, a singular evil person. Yeah, of course you're never going to understand how we are arriving at that exact same circumstance right now.
Race may profiteer from a war or satisfy its Old Testament vengeance. The Jewish watchword...
Yeah, Germans lecturing others on how phrasing and optics is important. Meanwhile, their states are getting more and more fascist. I think their methods aren't too good. Yeah. Yeah, Germans need to tell me. I will listen to fucking Germans about like how to defeat fascism when they don't allow the AFD to keep gaining more prominence, and also don't give everything Israel wants to Israel as it's doing its own fucking Holocaust in Gaza. Okay? This is the first time hearing the AI English version of his voice, giving me chills. It's so good that you show this to an English audience. Reading the speeches is different than actually listening to them. I am German and I'm also black. I believe in, and many do so, that Hitler was a tipping point and that the Holocaust was basically the culmination of all the genocide the countries Germany colonized in Africa. By the way, none of these is taught in schools and 99% of Germans don't know about it. I mean, he's literally saying it. He's like, we gave away our colonies, which he didn't volunteer them, okay? And nobody even said thank you for that. Like, and then he continues to talk about the hypocrisy of Western nations who also personally have their same colonies, like that they still operate. Officers of the Namibian genocide became Nazi officials. Yes. Like France in particular. I know. France is again, dude, it is everything old is new again. Okay. Everything old is new again.
The state.
Everything old is new again. Look at Vichy France. Okay. Everyone is going through their own 1920s to 1930s evolution towards fascism right now, with one very important distinction. We do not have an FDR, and there is no anti-fascist counterforce on the planet, okay? There is no socialist, ideologically minded, socialist, revolutionary country that will become the other global superpower. Before you say Xi Jinping, as much as I glaze China for high-speed rail and, like, you know, killing billionaires that poison children or whatever, if you think China is an ideological counterweight to growing capitalism and growing fascism on the planet, you are delusional, okay? They are not. They only care about China, okay? China only cares about China. And sometimes China only cares about China to a degree where, like, you can literally have Maoist or socialist groups that China doesn't even help, okay? The USSR, for all of its faults and failures, even though they were obviously personally invested in, you know, whatever their project was, they still absolutely were either A, forced into this dynamic, or B, genuinely helped their ideological allies in their own personal anti-colonial endeavors. China does not do that. If they did do that, it would be literally beneficial for them to do so in the Philippines. Okay? There are active Maoist rebel groups in the Philippines. Okay? It's just waiting. It's right there. They constantly are fucking having issues in their own backyard. Okay? They're, you know, hitting their fucking Coast Guard boats on the Filipino boats, and they're spraying them with water. Okay? If they wanted to cause instability or even engage in some kind of intervention in the Philippines, they're right there. You could just do that. America does it all the time. You could literally do that. You could just use the Maoist groups there and fund them and cause them to overtake the Filipino government. Obviously, it wouldn't be that easy because America has too much vested interest in the Philippines. It's yet another unsinkable aircraft carrier for them. But, like, you could at least cause some level of instability and leverage the ideological allies that you have in the Philippines. China doesn't even do that. They don't do that at all, because China just wants to sell product. Okay. At the end of the day, they don't want to fuck up the bag. They don't want to rock the boat. They just want to do their own thing, and they want to keep pumping they want to keep pumping out product, and they are looking for new markets to sell product to. And they've realized that the Western world is tapped out. So they have to develop Africa so they can find a new market that they can pump their product to. That's it. They stay grinding. That's it. They just want to get their money up and not their funny up. They don't have they do not have a committed ideological project in, like, you know, letting socialism thrive or anything like that. Now, things might change. Who knows? They might be forced into, taking global action inevitably. But the reality is, from where China is standing, at least looking at their actions, bro, China is just patient right now. Like, what do you want us to do? Give the U.S. a perfect excuse to start World War III with us? No, I just don't think that China is even remotely interested in fucking up the bag. That's all I'm saying. How likely is the U.S. to do a genocide domestically? Well, that comes back to the conversation that we were just having about Donald Trump being Hitlerian. Can't believe every conversation has to go back to China somehow, because Americans cannot just like analyze our own problems with, by being compared to an even bigger bad historically, without immediately being like, well, what about our foreign adversaries? They're doing some fuck shit too. And then me being the stubborn, annoying, autistic asshole that I am, have to immediately correct people for having the wrong opinion and not having any of the fucking knowledge on historical facts. This is not about China versus America. This is about what America is doing. The only reason why you do that is because you feel bad. You feel bad. There's a little Western chauvinist dog in you that's barking every time I talk about this.
Task. The destruction of the enemies of the state is its duty. The National Socialist state is neither prudish nor deceitful. There are, however, certain moral principles, adherence to which is in the interests of the biological health of a nation, and with which we tolerate no tampering. Pederasty and sexual offenses against children.
Yeah, these pedophilic gays, dude, destroying the moral fabric of society. Huh. Bro, conservatives only conserve one thing, and that is talking points, okay? They only recycle one thing, and that is talking points. Bar for bar. Verbatim, okay?
Are punishable by law in this state, no matter who commits such crimes. When some 5 years ago, certain heads of the National Socialist Party were found guilty of these crimes, they were shot. When other persons in public or private life, even priests, are guilty of such offenses, they are, according to law, sentenced to terms of imprisonment or hard labor. It is no concern of ours if priests break their other vows, such as chastity.
Okay, enough. God damn, dude. Holy shit.